Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see what are the web server vulnerabilities we are having on a different servers. So, in this presentation outlines the critical vulnerabilities and the best practices for securing the Apache servers and IIS web servers. So, what is the importance of web server security? So, why we need a security for the web servers? So, server is a different, a web server is a different. So, if you are hosting a web application in a server, then that server is a web server. So, web server will have all the files like HTML files and documents, PHP files, images, everything will be there in this web server. Whatever the front-end web application that we are seeing, it will be retrieve all those files from the web server. So first one is a data protection. So server stores sensitive user information requiring robust security measures to prevent data breaches. So whoever is creating the accounts in a web application, every data will be stored in the web server. Okay, so the next one, business continuity. So attacks can disrupt the website availability, affecting revenue and customer trust. For example, since we don't have any load balancers, we don't have any servers. Okay, I mean name servers. Attackers can exploit a DOS attack vulnerability. They will perform the DDoS attack. So what will happen? The web application will go down and the business continuity will be damaged. So for that reason, we have to enhance the security for the web servers. And the next, legal compliance. It is a mandatory rule. Regulations like GDPR, General Data Protection, and requires organization to protect user data or face server penalties. So this is what about importance of web security. So what are the common vulnerabilities that we are having in Apache and IIS? So first one is the outdated softwares that we are using. So using outdated versions of Apache or IIS exposes servers to known vulnerabilities. So even though if you are using a known vulnerability, so you are giving an entry point to the hackers so that they can hack you at any time. So next one, misconfigured security settings. Weak or poorly configured security settings can allow attackers to exploit vulnerabilities. And the next, unsecured directories. So unsecured directories with some sensitive files can be easily accessed by attackers. Okay, so if you are having unsecured directories, they can use some Google Docs to find out those directories and they can find some sensitive information in those directories. Next one, uh, patch management and updating the web servers. So what is the patch management and how we have to update the web servers? So first one, regular updates. Install security patches and updates regularly to fix known vulnerabilities. Suppose you are using a vulnerable version and you got to know there is a vulnerability in our version. So you have to patch that vulnerability immediately. And the next one, scheduled maintenance. So schedule downtime for maintenance and updates to minimize the service disruptions. Next one, vulnerability scan. Use vulnerability scanners to identify and address any potential security gaps. So vulnerability scanners like Akinetics, Nessus, Nikto, OpenVAS, we have a different vulnerability scanners. So you can use those scanners to perform vulnerability scanning. So next one, directory traversal and file disclosure vulnerability. So directory traversal is a major vulnerability. It's a critical level vulnerability. So with this directory traversal, you will get to know what are the directories that we are having in our target server. So attackers can exploit the directory traversal vulnerabilities to access the restricted files and directories. So in the restricted files and directories, nothing but etc/password. etc password. Next one, file disclosure. File disclosure vulnerabilities allow attackers to access and download sensitive files from a web server. And the last one, what is the mitigation? So we need to implement proper input validation and restrict access to sensitive directories. So access control vulnerabilities you need to implement in the directories servers. So next one, SQL injection on cross-site scripting attacks. So SQL injection, like it's like retrieving the database, like hacking the databases of a web application, cross-site scripting, hacking a authorized session of a other users. So attackers can inject the malicious SQL code into web forms to gain unauthorized access to the database. XSS is nothing but it will allow the attackers to inject malicious scripts into websites to steal user credentials or execute unauthorized actions. So, what is the prevention for this? So, we have to use parameterized queries. So, parameterized queries is the best thing for SQL injection and cross-site scripting. Input validation, whatever the commands they are giving, we have to validate it. If it seems like if they are using SQL query, they have to use union, such type of keywords. For it's a cross-site scripting, they have to use script. Okay, so first these type of things we have to blow and output encoding to mitigate the SQL injection and XSS attacks. DOS and DDoS attacks. So distributed denial of service and denial of service. In the denial of service, hackers want to down the service. Hackers want to down the web application. What they will do? So they will perform 10 to 20 lakh attacks at a single time. So that much per turn server won't take. So then the server will goes down. So DOS attack is nothing but like only 1% is targeting the one server. But in the DDoS attack, some botnets will be there or some servers will, or some systems will be there. Okay, so the four people will try to attack only single server. With the multiple IP addresses, they want to hack the system. Securing web server configuration. First one is access control. So we have to limit the access to sensitive directories and files, allowing only authorized users can access them. And the logging and monitoring. Enable logging to track user activity and potential security threats for analysis. Security headers. So you have to implement the security headers to protect against common web vulnerabilities and enhancement of a security. So this is what about a web application, web server security and how to save or secure our web server. Thank you.